Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones back with a new video of Knights, Dragons, and Sheepdogs. It's been a while since I made a video. Or at least a video of this nature. I've been busy with various projects, trying to get the oil system of my truck working, working much better than it is right now, and I've been cooking a lot more, which I'm very happy about. Still maintaining my garden, picking a lot of peppers. I've been cooking cooking with a lot of them um, as I go along. But I figured, it's high time I did a video on a topic that's been actually written down like maybe about a month ago, But it's something I've been thinking about. I've thought about ever since I was a little kid. Uh, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, but I'm only 25. But I'm sure people much older than me have heard these stories. The stories of in the Middle Ages. You had knights and dragons. You had the fearless, courageous knight, going out to destroy this dragon that's terrorizing this town or protect this kingdom or what have you. He'd go out with his sword and shield and armor and cut the fire breathing dragon open and kind of I guess somewhat graphic stuff. It taught kids that uh, about I guess maybe some hints of chivalry, but it taught them about acting with courage and um, standing up against insurmountable odds, against certain dangers, not just for yourself but to protect others. And I heard those same stories growing when I was real young. But one of my favorites, I grew up with action movies. One of my favorite my favorite movies one of my favorite movies at that time when I was around about 4 years old was Die Hard. Seeing John McClane, barefooted in a wife beater, with a Beretta, just just wiping out these these guys, these robbers basically in this high rise. I remember him. I remember shooting the guy from underneath the table and uh, throwing the C4. They jerry rigged up to a computer monitor and some detonators and threw it down the elevator shaft and running across the glass. I remember one of my favorite parts, and this may sound sick, was when when he's in the office and there's glass everywhere. And I remember as a little kid, this thing was actually it seemed pretty cool to me. How the one guy was running towards him with the MP5, and I think he used the MP5. He took off one of the guys. He shot him in his knees. His knees blew up, and the dude flew and went head first through through a plate glass wall. And now at 4 years old, I guess for me it was the coolest thing ever because I knew the plot of the story was about a good guy fighting bad guys, and it was always I always thought it was exciting that the good guys would go to such extreme lengths to do good, by which they would like in a movie you know got into a fight with a guy and they both fell down some stairs. He landed on the guy's neck, or when he got into a fist fight. This guy, I think, getting shot. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief, but it was pretty cool stuff. Choking the guy with the chain and some of the shots, headshots and stuff like that. It was cool to me. It was cool. And I would say that can be comparable to the Knights and Dragons stories that a lot of older people were told. I mean, you think about it. You got a man with a sword and armor going up against a fire-breathing dragon, cutting his belly open. Even you can even go back and you can even pull the same story out of the Bible. David slaying Goliath. He didn't just use a slingshot to fell the soldier Goliath. He took his sword and chopped his head off. So I think a lot of stories talk about good guys versus bad guys or good guys versus monsters. I mean they're going to be graphic because in a lot of times it takes strong actions to go up against certain types of danger. Now, tying this all together with sheepdogs, I noticed that there's been and it's been going on for a while. The sheepdog. I guess it's like a sheepdog movement. I guess maybe I don't know if it's been called that. I'm saying it right here, the sheepdog movement. And I see, I watched a lot, and I think that a lot of this came about when concealed carry was becoming more popular, or just people becoming the idea of people in today's society carrying guns and not just defending themselves but defending others, started to become something that's more well known. Even if we go back to our own history, looking into how with the West, a lot of people carried guns. Um, a lot of people were engaged in in local civil matters where people may get hurt, and so they took it upon themselves to horsewhip people or lynch people even. Whether you think that was good or bad, I would say that it's important to look at there were people who they saw a threat and they realized the need to react accordingly to it. And I look at how things are nowadays with with the carry with I guess with people who carry people who are carrying weapons, not just guns, but knives and various other tools of offense and defense. I will I have to put offense in there because maybe times you may have to act in an offensive manner, not just protect yourself, but to protect other people around you. And it goes, and I'm on Facebook, and I see, there's something called, I think it's called the Good Guy Files, or that's what it's titled, and it's basically a list of stories that shows where people not cops, they are defending themselves or their property or other people around them, and they're against the uh I can't say violent element, because the thing is it takes a good person willing to do violence to carry out to protect others. It goes to I think it's a quote by I think by George Orwell, or is it or maybe Robert Hyland. So that good, I think it's good people sleep at night because rough men are willing to do violence on their behalf. And I see sheepdogs as being those rough men. Um, and I'm going to include an article written by Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman. I'm reading the book right now, on killing, and I read this article that was posted some time ago called on sheep, wolves, and sheepdogs, and I think it's important that not just adults read those type of stories where people are defending themselves and defending others and defending their property, but I think it's important for children to hear those stories. I mean, because we have to face facts. I mean, it's important that we shield our children from certain acts. Because they're still in still in this age of innocence. But still, they have to, but still we teach them, we teach them about the stove. Don't play with the stove because you could get burned, and that involve, there's pain involved in getting burned. I think it's important that children are also taught, especially boys, are taught that there are dangerous people in our society. There are dangerous people on this earth who will do things to harm you, but they can be combated against by good guys. Not all good guys wear uniforms. That's another thing that needs to be taught. Not all good guys wear uniforms. You know, now I think a child should be able to look up to their parents as being the first good guys that they get to know. That they may, if not hear stories about, but at least have their assurance that they're gonna protect their children from the dangers of society. Um, whether they be dragons or a burglar, something like that. I always thought those stories were I always like, and I still read the stories from time to time. Sometimes I'll share my Facebook wall, um, just to let other people know out there of other adults, that there are people who there are good people who use violence to, excuse me, who use violence to protect not just themselves but to protect other people. Maybe you could say I never used to use the word violence, and I guess as a vague concept. I always tied violence in with as being negative, but I learned to basically call out violence for what it is. It's aggressive action. But it can be done by either side. It can be done by good, or it can be done by evil. Um, and it's good for adults to know that, so that they can be encouraged to do the same thing, so that they don't allow the plans of evil men to advance, so that they themselves don't be I guess in a way co-conspirators or accomplices in certain evil actions. Because there's always been, I've always heard this thing, but well, we don't hear in the news all the time that we're always hearing the news of people, people getting hurt with guns, or getting hurt by people with, with certain weapons. Well, yeah, you hear that because there's some narrative going on. There's some type of narrative going on to keep people afraid. But I think these stories, much like when I was young, I used to watch Die Hard, and I watched Universal Soldier, and I watched I think it was License to Kill. I watched a lot of Steven Seagal films. I remember watching Terminator films, and knowing that seeing good guys. Those movies had an impact on me because it showed to me that good people can use force, can use violence to help to make to correct correct the act I guess the actions of evil men. And I think today we need those same stories from, from our current sheepdogs. We need to hear stories that encourage us to take action when we see something wrong, when we see something going wrong, when we see someone being abused. I wish that I wish that those kind of stories or those type of individuals were in more places. I wish there were, um, over in I wish more of them were in other societies. Like whether it be in parts of Africa or in parts of UK, or wherever, parts of Mexico. Good people need to be emboldened. That's what I was talking about in the video I did. Right needs might. Good people need to be emboldened to take certain action in order to combat wrongful action. And I think these stories, they serve that purpose. They serve to encourage people, let them know that, hey, listen, it may there are dangerous people out. Well, you should know that there are dangerous people out there, but there is a way to combat against them. And you can, you can be sure of yourself that you're not the only person who are facing these types of things, and you're not the only person who would um, act against them. Not just save yourself or your property, but to save the lives and property, even liberties of other people. But that's my video. Tell me what you think. Do you have any sheepdog stories that you want to tell, or do you know any of that may that pertains to this video? I'd be happy to see what you guys out there have to say. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the conversation. I hope you enjoyed the videos, the old videos I made, and the new videos to come. Any gripes, complaints, please leave me a PM as to what your beef is with me, and hopefully I try to address it, or try to rectify it in any way if all possible. But please be courteous to everyone else who's leaving comments in the comment section or making video responses. But that's my video. Knights, Dragons, and Sheepdogs. I'm Edward Jones, and thanks for watching.